Right now, the ANC's new leaders have been voted in, and the new National Executive Committee is being assembled to assist the top seven. With all the divisions that have been laid bare in recent weeks, who are the notable absentees on that NEC list? Well, our reporter Moloko Moloto is on the ground in Nasrec. Let me take you there live now. Moloko, I understand that delegates have been told to gather at around 2:30. Are we edging closer and closer to the announcement of the NEC?
Hello, Masero. Well, we surely are no longer on tenterhooks. Judgment Day came and it's gone. We now know who the president of the ANC is, Cyril Ramaphosa, elected along with the 6 other officials, making a new Super 7, as previously they were called the top 6. Now they are the top 7. But in terms of the update as to what exactly is happening, because as we were speaking to some delegates a few minutes ago, we were told that some of them had not even started voting for the 80 additional members of the National Executive Committee. But Dakota Legoete is the rightful man to give us an update there. Are you still the spokesperson of the ANC, sir? Welcome. Just give us an update as to how far are we, how many provinces still have to vote for the additionals.
No, thank you very much. We started this morning with the voting process. It's still on. The only disruption has been the weather, the rain in particular, but so far, so good. What we have done is that we have allowed all provinces to vote, in particular our coastal provinces, which has to travel for a very long distance. They have started Western Cape, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal. They are voting as we're talking. And later, inland provinces will also vote. But all of us are allowed to vote as it is now. We have allowed everybody to go through the voting process. Whoever is ready can now vote, and that's how far we are.
So I understand that obviously from the branch nominations, about 200 people were eligible to be elected as NEC members, and I've been told that from the floor, about 40 others were nominated. So it's not going to be an easy process to elect, but also to tally the votes from 240 people for 80 positions. It's not going to be as easy as when you're voting for 7 people, isn't it?
Yes, indeed, you know. Initially, we had 200 who were announced by the Electoral Committee, but after others raised their views and points of some injustice that happened, the Electoral Committee corrected to allow them. So the number increased to 240. From the floor yesterday, we had additional 16 of members. So we're expecting delegates to vote for at least 260 of our NEC eligible members, but out of that, the top 80 is the one that is going to constitute the new NEC.
Your members back at home, those who did not make it here, would want to know when the results of this 80 NEC members would be released.
Look, we expect to finish today around 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. Then immediately thereafter, counting will start. So counting, if you know, counting 260 votes out of 4,300 eligible voters, you know, it can take anything between 6 and 14 hours. So we expect the results tomorrow, to be honest with you, because anything today, it will be a lie.
Mr. Legoete, voting was not the only business of this conference. And despite that, it appears that, this is supposed to be the last day. You are still voting. Have you had an opportunity of discussing the pertinent issues that South Africans are confronted with? Joblessness, crime that is so violent in this country. I don't even want to mention load shedding. All the key problematic matters. Have you really had time to deeply engage in them and to come up with practical solutions?
Yes, indeed, we had that particular time. You know, from our PGMs, we had discussions of policy documents from our regional general councils We had discussions of policy document. From our Provincial General Council, we had discussion. We also had a discussion at a national policy conference. So we have draft resolution of what people have a feel about. But besides, we had commissions also here, which are still continuing even now in terms of the consolidation of commissions reports. Issues that people raise ordinarily, load shedding is one of what we have discussed. In our final resolutions, we are clear. The turnaround time is 6 months for the incoming leadership, including the incoming president, to sort out load shedding in this country, because load shedding has become another COVID, which makes people to lose jobs, which kills manufacturing, and it creates more joblessness. We've dealt with the issue of crime and public safety. We are very clear and resolute that we must make South Africa very safe. And one of the reasons we have said in what we have discussed is to deal with the Border Management Authority, because our borders are porous. We can agree to host any other person because we have more than 25 million South Africans in terms of states SA who sleeps without food, despite a mitigation of 17 million that we give social grants. And it's very clear that we can run charity for others when we are a charity case ourselves. And those are things that delegates brought to the leadership. The other things that we were very clear about is the issue of unity and the purpose for which the ANC was founded. We cannot afford to be ruled or to be bullied by factions. We want the ANC to focus on the national interest, and the national interest is to ensure that we have a better life for all, not for few.
I will come to this issue of renewal and the bullying by a certain faction, but I want you to account, because you are the governing party, for the situation that South Africans find themselves in, and you seem to be blaming the immigrants who are coming to South Africa, but the economy that you preside over as the ANC is not creating jobs for South Africans. So do you admit that you are failing South Africans just there? Instead, you seem to be pushing the buck to people who are also fleeing from the difficulties within their countries, and as a result, you seem to be pitting South Africans with other African brothers and sisters.
No, you need to understand, it's common cause and common knowledge that there's an OAU convention, there's a Geneva Convention of the United Nations, that when you move to any other country, you need to have proper documentation. So it cannot be possible that our country is raped, it's abused by everybody who claims to be a victim from wherever they come from. We can't be blackmailed forever. We can't be expected to host everybody forever when we have our own problems. We must be resolute, and our government, that's what delegates are saying, it must assist us to talk to our brothers in the continent, to talk to other countries in the world, which some of them comes to our country for wrong reasons, to be in mafias, to be in drugs, to be in crime, to steal. It cannot be allowed.
And it is the ANC government that allowed the borders to be porous. But let's talk about the renewal, unity within the ANC. You are saying that you cannot allow to continue to be bullied by factions. Expand there. Who are in these factions and how are they bullying you?
Look, the ANC, it's an instrument of revolution in the hands of our people. None of us in leadership has a personal fiefdom or a personal claim over the ANC. The ANC must bring a better life to all, not to the few. And there's been a negative optics about us as employees of the ANC, about us as leaders of the ANC, that we are leading a jacuzzi lifestyle, we are opulent, and we've forgotten the mission of which the ANC was founded on. And it's a matter that we are saying it needs to be brought in, because those who thrive in the ANC They can only do so for factional interests, for personal interests, which has subsumed the national interest of bringing a better life for all. And that's where we need to get back to. Because whoever is going to be elected in the new leadership, they must know it's not a free meal to be there. It's about the cause, it's about the purpose, it's about serving our people, it's about serving our nation and rebuilding this economy for the betterment of all.
I'm assuming here that you were among some ANC members who preferred Dr. Zweli Mkhize, and of course you had every right because you were electing new leaders. Do you think that President Cyril Ramaphosa over the past 5 years was among those in that faction that you say was purging, was kind of like oppressing some of you that perhaps did not agree with him?
Look, my message is simple to the current leadership and the collective, including even to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Leave other things. None of us so far has shown to be a good example of civil obedience. So far, all of us must ensure that we build institutions so that they have integrity. We build systems so that systems can take care of everything. None of us must even talk about anti-corruption because it has become very clear that none of us is a holy cow. So it's important that we allow that to the police, to the Hawks, to the NPA to deal with them. We must focus on the developmental agenda of our people, deal with load shedding, deal with unemployment, deal with the problem of gender-based violence and femicide, deal with public safety, the crime in the country, deal with youth unemployment, women unemployment, deal with the skills revolution. That's what we need. Nothing less, nothing more. So whoever takes the leadership now, or whoever will be part of the collective of the NEC must know it's not a free meal. Our people have been waiting for 28 years. They can only be consoled by being beneficiaries of social grants, of RDP House. We also want to be in charge of the commanding heights of the economy, the banks, the land, the economy, the mines. We must control them, including all other key sectors of the economy.
This is my final question, and I want you to correct me if I have the wrong side of the stick. I suppose you are one of those who don't believe that the members of parliament who voted in support of that panel report that recommended that further investigation be made by parliament as to on the Phala matter. Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma voted in support of that. She didn't toe the party line. Mosebenzi Zwane and Supra Mahuma Peru. Do you believe that given such conditions, the president, and seeing that there's a history of ANC presidents following 1994, I think it was only Mandela who finished one term. The rest did not even finish, they were recalled. Do you believe with these conditions, President Cyril Ramaphosa is likely to finish his term as the state president?
Look, it's simple. We need to know what is our national interest as the ANC. Why did we wage a national democratic revolution? Why did we wage a liberation struggle? It was never about personalities. It was never about our own private affairs, private properties, private accumulation. It has always been about the cause of the people to bring a better life to all. And that's what we need to get to. We don't have to get into whether Phala or Nkandla or whatever you can call. Those are more of tabloid politics. Those are not a revolution. Those are not about transformation.
But they are there causing divisions within the rank and file of the ANC.
It depends on the level of development and consciousness in a leader. It cannot be that the ANC must tear itself apart because of a leader. Leaders must help us. They must not be subsumed by personal interest more than a national interest. And that's what we're begging and asking from leaders of the ANC, including myself. If I find myself in trouble or in conflict of the air with the law, I must not drag the ANC into my personal things.
All right. Mr. Dakota Legoete, pulling no punches there. Braden, let me get back to you.
All right, Moloko Moloto.